MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Amanda Nunes versus Germaine de Randamie. January 7th, 2011, Strikeforce Challengers 13, Woodley versus Safadine, Nashville, Tennessee. Amanda Nunes makes her American debut on the televised portion of the Showtime broadcast. She defeats the future Bellator Featherweight champion Julia Budd by a vicious knockout in only 14 seconds. Nunes would lose her following Strikeforce match by second-round TKO to Alexis Davis. January 26, 2011, Strikeforce, Diaz vs. Cyborg, San Jose, California. The 1-1 Germaine de Randamie makes her Strikeforce debut against Stephanie Weber. The kickboxing specialist wins by knees late in the first round.
And Germaine, a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation from the MMA crowd to see you make your Strikeforce debut. You won, you looked very good. How do you feel about your performance?
To be honest, I'm very happy. Of course, I won in my Strikeforce debut, but I made a few mistakes during the fight, but I'm going to work on it. So I have no injuries, so go back to the gym and go work on the mistakes I made in the fight. So.
Which mistakes? I mean, it wasn't a very long fight, so it's hard to really pinpoint a lot of bad things that you did. But what didn't you like from what you did?
I could defend the takedown, but I made a mistake there. I let her take her down too easy. Even though I kept working on the ground, try for submissions, armbar, triangle. I almost said triangle. I didn't hook the leg. My mistake, you see. But went back up, finished it with knees. So yeah. Just like I said, it's the small details, in my jiu-jitsu, like the triangle. I had to hook her leg, so I could take her down. But it's okay, it's a mistake, and I'm here to learn. Like I said, I want to be a complete MMA fighter, and I know I still got to learn a lot, but I'm gonna work on it and be back even better.
Cesar Gracie calls you the female version of Anderson Silva. You comfortable with that?
No, that's a lot of pressure on my shoulders, even though it's a big honor. But I still got to learn a lot, like I said, and I keep saying it, I have to learn so much, and I want to learn so much. So I hope I can be one day the female Anderson Silva.
How far away do you think you are from competing with the likes of Tate and Koonin? And if one day you are in line to fight for the title, would you fight Koonin?
To answer the last question, if I would fight Koonin, yes, of course. I want to be the best for best. I want to be the pound for pound best female fighter in the world, MMA fighter. And to be honest, I'm very realistic. I think I'm not at the level yet. I'm working on it, training a lot. Strikeforce giving me now the opportunities, and I'm gonna work and train a lot. So soon, I will be ready. For now, I still gotta learn a lot.
Next, de Randamie would move up to featherweight to face Julia Budd. The Dutch fighter would lose by decision. July 28, 2012, Invicta FC 2, Baszler vs. McMahon, Kansas City, Kansas. Amanda Nunes makes her Invicta FC debut. Nunes would defeat Raquel Pa'alui by second-round rear naked choke. August 18, 2012, Strikeforce, Rousey vs. Kaufman, San Diego, California. Germaine de Randamie returns to the Hexagon to face Hiroko Yamanaka at featherweight. De Randamie wins by decision. January 5th, 2013, Invicta FC 4, Esparza vs. Hyatt, Kansas City, Kansas. Amanda Nunes faces grappler Sarah D'Alelio. Nunes loses by unanimous decision. July 23rd, 2013, UFC on Fox 8, Johnson vs. Moraga, Seattle, Washington. The Iron Lady makes her UFC debut against Julie Kedzie.
Post-fight at UFC on Fox number 8 alongside Germaine de Randamie, who just defeated Julie Kedzie via split decision. And Germaine, congratulations on picking up your first UFC win. You've been in combat sports for a very long time, but to fight in the UFC, to pick up a win, what does that feel like?
It's amazing. It's an honor because I'm the first woman to step in the first Dutch woman to step in the UFC octagon. So it's a dream come true, and I wish I could have showcased more. I've been out for a year again, and I hope to be back soon. So I let it flow a little bit more, but it's amazing.
You were undefeated in your previous life, in your previous career. You come to MMA and you stumble out of the gate. You had a loss. Since then, You know, you just had one little blemish, but you've looked very good as of late. What's been the difference? How have you put it together? Is it maybe now that you're at AK? What's been the secret?
The secret is of having a great team behind me that really works on the things that I should be working on, my ground game, my takedown defense. I stuffed a few takedowns, and I think we're getting there. I was dominant in the clinch, and the most important thing, I think the team behind me, that makes the big difference.
You're very tall for your weight class. How's the weight cut?
It was very easy this time. I have to say, for my whole career, this was the easiest time. In the beginning, I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh, Jesus, I got to go to 135. It's been 3 years ago last time, but I have to say it went pretty smooth.
August 3rd, 2013, UFC 163, Aldo versus Korean Zombie, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Amanda Nunes makes her UFC debut against Sheila Gaff. Nunes dominates and wins by TKO in round 1.
Ariel Helwani post-fight at UFC 163 alongside Amanda Nunes, who just defeated Sheila Gaff in the very first round. Amanda, congratulations on your first UFC win. You mentioned in the post-fight interview you're the first Brazilian woman to win in the UFC. How much does that mean to you?
É sonho realizando, né? Pedi tanto a Deus por esse momento em minha vida e que eu estreasse assim brilhante como foi. Graças a Deus, tudo planejado, tudo treinado, muito certo, com grandes profissionais.
A lot of training paying off, and it is a dream come true. I would like to thank my coaches, and I had a lot of support from them, and that was a dream come true for me.
November 6, 2013, UFC Fight Night 31, Fight for the Troops 3, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Amanda Nunes is set to face Germaine de Randamie. Nunes quickly dispatches of de Randamie with ground and pound late in the first round. September 27, 2014, UFC 178, Johnson vs. Cariaso, Las Vegas, Nevada. Nunes is matched up against top 5 ranked Kat Zingano on the pay-per-view main card.
You've been asking for this fight. You wanted it. You were very vocal about it. Why?
Because Kat #1 top contender. I think I can beat Kat Saturday, and I can have my opportunity to fight for the belt, and then that's the main thing.
You've also been talking a lot about Ronda Rousey. You've been very confident, saying things like you're going to beat her and whatnot. And we haven't heard this from you in the past. Why have you changed your sort of persona, your stance? And it's gotten you a lot of attention. I'm wondering why you decided to do that.
Yes, the many thing, right? Every girls in this weight class wanna be the champion, and then always talk about the Ronda Rousey, of course, because she's the champion. I wanted the belt after this fight. For sure, I need my opportunity for the belt.
Zingano defeats Nunes by round 3 TKO. Nunes would rebound and win her next 2 UFC bouts. A first-round KO stoppage of Shayna Baszler at UFC Fight Night 62, Maya vs. LaFleur, and a first-round submission finish over Sarah McMahon at UFC Fight Night 73, Teixeira vs. St. Preux. March 14, 2015, UFC 185, Pettis vs. Dos Anjos, Dallas, Texas. After 14 months away from the cage, de Randamie returns to face Larissa Pacheco. De Randamie overwhelms and finishes Pacheco in round 2.
It's a bittersweet victory. It feels great to be back, but I lost my best friend, my four-legged friend. They had to put him to sleep Wednesday, so it was a little bit bittersweet. I went in with a heavy heart, but I wanted to fight for him, and I'm just glad to be back in there and make a statement. I really wanted to make my team, and I really wanted to make a statement, and I hope we did.
Well, who's your four-legged friend? Tell
Alice is my pit bull.
Oh.
So my heart is broken, and I'm just really looking forward to go home and bring him to his final rest place. There's a reason why they call me the Iron Lady. I wanted to make a statement today and to show everybody that I have the power. I have the power to knock people out. And the thing was, I threw the head kick and I saw her moving her arm. I think I broke her arm with that kick. And from there on, I saw I was hitting her hard. I knew she showed me that she was tough, and she was tough. But I was on the hunt. I wanted to finish this fight. So from there on, I just pushed the pace, and I'm like, there's gonna be a time when the right hand is gonna end on the jaw, and I'm gonna finish the fight. most people that know me from my old kickboxing days know that I like to finish fights. I like to brawl, I like to finish fights. And I wanted to make a statement. I am here to finish fights. I'm not here to lay and pray. If you want to fight, you come to fight. I'm the girl that's gonna bring a fight. And laying and praying is not my thing. And yes, I just hope the fans liked it and they enjoyed it. I've got a lot of fights. A lot of people forget. I have today was my 54th pro fight, so that's a lot. So sometimes it's very hard to keep that focus and motivate yourself to get back in there and do it again. And mentally, I've learned so much to put my personal feelings and my feelings towards fighting on a different perspective and look at a fight differently. What makes it that I have so much more fun doing this.
After your last fight was a loss, how discouraged were you about the sport, or were you?
I was not discouraged about the sport, I was discouraged about myself. I disappointed myself. I went in that fight the wrong way. Amanda beat me fair and square, we're not going to dispute that. I'm not going to take anything away from it, but I'm a different fighter now, and I'm stronger than ever.
The Dutch fighter would follow that victory with a first-round KO over Anna Elmoze at UFC Fight Night 87, Overeem vs. Arlovski, in her home country at UFC Rotterdam in the Netherlands. March 5th, 2016, UFC 196, McGregor vs. Diaz, Las Vegas, Nevada. Nunez is set to face rising star Valentina Shevchenko.
Are you impressed with her as an MMA fighter, not Muay Thai? She has a couple wins over Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the strawweight champion of the UFC. But as an MMA fighter, are you impressed with her?
No, not really. I think I'm impressed with her last fight. She won by hip throw, right? But I'm not impressed at all.
So what does a win over her then mean for you? Do you think that, given the fact that maybe Ronda will be out for a while, that you'll be the #1 contender if you win this fight? Have you been told that by the UFC?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to finish fast that I can. Knock her out or on the ground, submit her, and even go to the 3 rounds. But it's looking good in the fight, And I think after that, I have my title shot.
Finally.
Yeah.
You won't accept anything else?
Anything else?
Nothing.
Title shot, please.
Who do you want to win then, Holly or Misha? Who do you prefer?
I'm cheering for Misha.
Why?
I think Misha have a big chance. Take Holly down and then submit her. But I cheer for Misha.
Nunes wins a very competitive, unanimous decision. July 9th, 2016, UFC 200, Tate vs. Nunes, Las Vegas, Nevada. Now riding a 3-fight winning streak, Nunes is set to face Miesha Tate for the UFC Bantamweight Championship.
3 in a row, and I did my work, I win the fight, and I deserve the title shot. And Saturday night, you guys are gonna see a new champion.
You obviously follow the division as closely as anyone. Is Miesha the best fighter in the division by your definition?
Yeah, I'm gonna fight the champion. Miesha is the best in the line right now, and I'm gonna beat her.
Amanda Nunes dominates Tate and finishes Tate by submission 3 minutes and 16 seconds in the first round. Amanda Nunes is now the new UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion.
And does it make you proud to be the first openly gay champion in the history of UFC?
This is amazing. The more important, I'm happy with my life. This is the more important thing.
I know you guys live in in Florida, not in Orlando, but not so far away. How did the events of Orlando impact you and your friends?
Oh, I'm sad, very sad, I wish these things doesn't happen anymore, Peace in the world is very important. And I don't think USA is going to let this happen again. I think it's going to stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
December 30th, 2016, UFC 207, Nunes vs. Rousey, Las Vegas, Nevada. Nunes will defend her belt for the first time against the woman that the UFC created the division for, Ronda Rousey, who is making her first return to competition since her knockout loss to Holly Holm at UFC 193.
How do you win this fight? Does a picture keep coming when you think about fighting Ronda December 30th, UFC 207? How do you envision beating her?
Honestly, I have a lot of ways,
Okay.
you know, to this fight can go, and I keep like I said for the UFC 200, keeping my patience and then wait for the best moment. I know she's gonna do the mistake, and I will capitalize.
You think early?
Maybe early,
Okay.
and I really don't know. I'm excited, you know. This is the one thing that I like to see how the fights go, to try to finish as fast as I can.
Do you think this will be her last fight?
I think so. How things go, she don't know how to do it, media, everything. How big she is, she don't know how to do it. This, I think, is gonna be the nice one.
And final thing for me, do you think this moment, when you win the fight, they put the belt back on your waist, will it feel better than the 200 win because of who it is, because of how big this fight is, or do you think nothing will ever top that moment back in July?
That moment was amazing, but this one, I really gonna prove everybody I'm here to stay.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think it's gonna be big because everybody's gonna start to respect me as a champion.
In one of the most one-sided victories in UFC championship bout history, Nunes defeats Rousey by standing TKO, 48 seconds in the first round.
She thinks she's a boxer, you know. He put this thing in her head and make the girl believe in that. I don't know why he did that. She have a great judo, you know, and then she can go more far away in this division. But he put some crazy thing about his boxing, and then her career started going down, and that's why I went there. I'm the real striker here, and this is the only thing I wanna look at him to say.
Kind of back to your last comment, do you think that's it for Ronda? Do you think she retires? Do you think that's it for her?
Yeah, that's it for her. For sure, she's gonna retire. She can't take anymore. If she wanted the rematch, I'm gonna do the same thing because she can take my punches.
February 11th, 2017, Holm versus de Randamie, Brooklyn, New York. Germaine de Randamie moves up in weight to face Holly Holm for the UFC Featherweight Championship.
It was never anything but weird from the moment that they booked this fight, because the obvious absence of Chris Cyborg, Justino not being in here, that just gives it an air of well, why bother until you want that person to be in that fight. So it's been an adjustment for me to even wrap my mind around as any kind of true merit. It has an air of a little bit of a charade going on with this thing, but I'll tell you what, the one thing that both of these ladies have done is really their enthusiasm and just how much an emotional output they've done all week. It's kind of sold me on the idea that, this is just a big opportunity, regardless of its how much merit stands behind it initially. You got to think that the UFC has been fairly good at filling in divisions and, getting talent, and you have to trust their process in this. Even though we don't see it, I can't see how they're going to do it. I feel like it's going to be a moonlighting division and all that stuff as we go on. As we go on, but
There we go. Is my hair okay? Don't say no. No, it's a joke. If you ask anybody, 6 months ago, Germaine is gonna headline in Brooklyn. Second UFC event, everybody would tell you you're crazy. This is the moment, it's now or never. I mean, you gotta live up to the pressure, but I feel so amazing. I have a great team behind me. I've got great fans. Let's do this. You didn't see that look coming, did you?
UFC 208 is over, and we have a new UFC Women's Featherweight Champion. UFC tonight crowned their 11th champion. Currently, it's their 4th European champion, and just the second person from the Netherlands to become UFC champion. Her name, of course, Germaine de Randamie. She defeats Holly Holm via unanimous decision. And Chuck, let's start there because it kind of signified the entire night. in the sense that it was controversial, it was close, it was a decision, only one finish on the 10-fight card. So let me ask you right off the top, who'd you have it for? Who'd you score the fight for?
Well, I had it 3-2 for Holly. And she was up here just a minute ago saying she thought she won the last 3 rounds, and that's exactly how I scored it. I was writing the live blog at the time, so you're not. Sometimes you feel like you miss some things, but that's the way I saw it. Seeing it around the other way seems proper to me too. But at the same time, yeah, that was not the greatest fight. It was a little weird. It was weird to hear a crowd booing, and some of them streaming out before the decision was even read. Wow. Things like that. I was just like, wow, I just would have never anticipated it kind of going down that path, you know what I mean?
Obviously a little controversial with those 2 punches that landed. Actually, it was 3, one big one. I think it was the end of the 3rd and maybe end of the 4th or 2nd and 3rd, and then the 2. Yeah. Do you feel like a point should have been deducted after the first time that this happened? And if so, should another one have been deducted after the second time it happened?
A lot of times with the first one, they give a warning. That's kind of normal. I wouldn't expect them to take a punch after the first one, even though it was intentional. And then the second time, you think that at that point they would do something. But I'm just one of those, I don't know, I'm one of those people that feels like I should not have let her done it anyway. Yes, it's after the bell. I hear the bell. I stopped and she threw. It wasn't like in the the last punch of a combination when the bell rang. Like, it was intentional. It was after the bell. Those are some of her best shots of the whole night were after the bell, and I don't know how the judges saw that. If they see that as points for her, then what can you do? It's like I should have kept fighting too. Then I should really capitalize on moments when I did well and not even let her get to that point.
Do you think she did it on purpose?
Well, yeah. It's like I said, if it's one shot after the bell at the end of a combo, then yeah, that's an accident. Sometimes you're in the flurry of it, but I still think I could have won the fight on my own.
Do you agree that it's really on the referee? The referee should have stepped in. You're taught to fight until you're broken up, and he was late. And then actually later on in the fight, I think it was end of the 4th, he was early to step in, I think trying to overcompensate. But in the end, not to kind of pile on the guy, Todd Anderson, but it really falls on him. He's the one who has to step in, correct?
I do believe, yeah, the referee has to step in. And, it's not always, and like Big Joe McCarthy already explained, it's not my job all the times to listen to the Zoomer. I'm in the heat of the moment. We're fighting and we're going back and forth, and I was in the action. And as soon as he threw his hand up, I stopped. Or as soon as he put his hand in between us, I stopped. But when you're in the middle of a combination, you do not always think about the bell going off.
Did he say anything to you after the first time?
Yeah, he did. He came up to me and he said, it was on the bell. Don't worry, don't listen to anybody. It was a legal shot.
Okay. And then what did he say to you after the second time?
He said, Germaine, do not hit after the bell. You got to listen to the bell. Stop when I said break.
Okay.
Else I have to give you an official warning. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. He's like, no worries, sit down. I don't run away from anybody. I knew Cyborg was there. And Cyborg is still in there. There's no reason for me to run. Everybody is beatable, and it's an honor for me to fight also such a great champion as Chris Cyborg. I'm not running. But at this point, I do believe Holly deserves the rematch.
So if you had your way, you'd rather fight Holly next as opposed to Chris Cyborg. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
And so what do you say to people who say the Cyborg is the new opponent, she was the Invicta champion, she's the greatest 145er of all time, this is the fight to make? What's your response?
I completely understand that people want to see that fight, and that fight is probably going to happen, but I'm first going to fight Holly. I think, to clear everything up, to clear everything that's been said so far, I think she deserves the rematch first. For a few weeks ago, it was still unclear if Cyborg was able to fight anytime soon, or if with the Zada thing going on now that she's cleared. So I've heard, right? She's cleared.
Yeah, she's cleared.
Yeah, she's cleared. You know, I mean, I think if the fight's gonna happen, it's gonna happen anyway. But right now, at this point, I truly believe that Holly deserves it first, so that we can settle things up.
June 19th, 2017. The UFC officially strips de Randamie of her featherweight title. UFC has informed Germaine de Randamie and her management team that she is being removed as the women's featherweight champion due to her unwillingness to fight the #1 ranked contender Chris Cyborg Justina. UFC maintains that any champion is expected to accept fights against the top contenders in their respective weight classes in order to maintain the integrity of the sport.
So could you tell us what happened? I mean, at some point they probably came to you and said, would you like to fight Chris Cyborg? Would you like to defend your title against her? And you ultimately, I guess, said no. Is that what happened? And was there a negotiation involved? Could you tell us how this all came to be to the point where you're not defending your belt on Saturday?
Yeah, of course. How did it go? Well, first we had the whole roller coaster with the Holly Holm thing with her appealing the decision.
Yeah.
And then the UFC contacted me to see if I was interested in fighting July 29th against Cyborg. But before, let me go back a little bit before that, because before I signed the bout agreements with Holly, I discussed with the UFC. This was all before I signed the bout agreements for that fight. I told the UFC I'm willing to take the fight, but just know I want to drop back to 135 pounds. I mean, the current champion, she's a great champion, Amanda Nunes. I have a loss against her, and I hope just one day to revenge my loss against her. And the UFC was very willing, and they said they had absolutely no problem with it, me dropping back down after the fight with Holly. So I fought Holly, and then the UFC contacted me and talked to me about fighting Chris Cyborg at 145 July 29th. And my team and I, we have discussed this, and there was a point that she got caught with the diuretic, then she got permission for it, and you know, we discussed this all together, and the plan was to go back to 135 before everything happened ever. And we discussed that she being caught with the diuretics, and diuretics are also being used sometimes as blockers for other stuff in your system. We decided not to take the fight, not only because of the steroid thing or me thinking that me being against people that abuse substances. It was also, I was not going to be able to be ready at July 29th. I have a full-time job. Fighting for me right now is hobby. I don't live a fighter life. I work 50, sometimes 60 hours a week. And besides all that, I still have to train. So my whole preparation for Holly was, some days I was able to train, and some days I wasn't even able to train. And I said to the UFC, my hand is still bothering me. I'm waiting for the results of the doctors and to see if we can push things back. But I also have no time for rest or take a vacation from my work. So it's not possible for me to be ready. And, as every decision as a human being, if you're a human being and you make a decision, a decision has consequences. And the consequences for me were that the UFC stripped me from the belt. Fighting is hobby to me. It's not my work. It's not the money I pay my bills with. I don't fight for money. I truly fight because I truly love fighting. If I start fighting for money, I will set aside my principles, and I won't do that. And at the moment I start fighting for money, I start to have less fun in it. Mm-hmm. Because it's business, and fighting is not business for me. This is fun. And the moment I don't love it anymore is the moment I will hang up my gloves.
September 9th, 2017. UFC 215, Nunez versus Shevchenko 2, Edmonton, Alberta. Nunez makes the second defense of her title in a rematch against Valentina Shevchenko. Originally booked as the main event at UFC 213, Nunez was forced to pull out of the fight the morning of the bout due to a sinus infection.
I feel like going into this fight, because of what happened in July, there's a little more pressure on you to sort of prove that you're the best, to prove that what was said about you in July is inaccurate. You fought some of the best, Misha and Ronda most recently, but now it seems like there's a spotlight on you a little more than in the past. Do you feel that way?
You know, I'm the champ. I have to defend this belt. I'm not going to stay home like the belt there and then I'm sitting down in the couch. No, I have to step in the cage. I have to defend, and I will keep doing it. No pressure at all. I'm a fighter. I have to step in the cage and fight. This is what I like to do.
Sure.
You know, nobody's going to stop me, and I feel like I'm in the best shape ever, than ever. And I'm ready for Valentina for sure. I know everything she's going to bring that night. I fight her, I beat her already, and I will do it again.
In a very closely contested match, Nunes defeats Shevchenko by split decision.
You know, a lot of people talk about my last fight against Valentina was 3-minute rounds, and then I got tied in the 30, all those things. But people have to understand it. The fight evolve. The fight evolve. You know, I'm always go back to the gym. You wanna do better and better. Go back to the gym, learning new things. You know. And tonight was 5 rounds that I want to show for people. No knockout, no submission, 5 rounds. This was my strategy tonight. In the first 2 rounds, I kicked her, and then I caught her knee, and then I got a little bit hurt, and then I not be able to do that much in the fight. And I save a lot of energy, making her do all the work. This was the strategy. You know, make her miss, make her do all the work, and then waiting for the best moments to change the rounds was with my takedowns at the end, and with a little bit strike and kicks to make her keep like punching, and then keep her like moving, and get her tired. And I not be able to do that much because I hurt my foot. And I still like try to, of course, knock her out. But my big things tonight was go to 5 rounds, show the world I'm ready, I'm the champion, I'm here to stay.
May 12th, 2018. UFC 224, Nunes versus Pennington, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Amanda Nunes will defend her belt for the 3rd time against Raquel Pennington as the main event at Jeunesse Arena.
It's been 8 years since you fought in Brazil, right? What's the difference? What do you remember from that last time you fought here compared to now?
The huge thing that I remember is the victory. My hand was raised, and this time it's gonna be different. And you know, like fighting Brazil is always like awesome. I always get like so excited and pump it up to fight, excited to step in the cage. And it's like so long ago, but I still like remember how it was, was so smooth, and exactly how it is was the two fights that I have here before.
Nunes dominates and finishes Pennington midway through the 5th round by a vicious ground and pound.
There was a point where Raquel said she was done. You in the fight, did you get to a point where you thought that she was at her limit, that she can go forward? Yes. When I started to work the knees in the clinch, there was a time when it really landed on her nose, and I saw it, and I felt that it broke. When she looked at me, her nose was already bleeding a lot. So that's when I started to exploit. It's sad to say that it's a fight. I needed to defend my belt. I needed to use her weakness at that moment to be able to come out with the win. So when I saw the nose, I knew that it was broken. It was bleeding a lot. So that's when it became my focus. And also the kicks to the legs. It was something that I used a lot, but I saw that she was very injured. And I was with my corners when the fight was over, and I would look at her and I knew that she was done. But a fight's a fight. Some athletes come back in the last round, so you have to maintain your focus and That's what I did. But when I threw my last elbow, that's when I really felt it. It's over, and she gave me her back, and I was able to finish the fight. But it's very sad. He should have listened to her at that moment.
November 10th, 2018, UFC Fight Night 139, Korean Zombie versus Rodriguez. After 20 months away from the cage, de Randamie returns to bantamweight and faces Raquel Pennington.
The only thing I can't wrap my head around is, why take a title fight if you have no intentions of defending it against the #1 contender? That's the only part I don't get.
Which I completely understand. But the whole part was I wanted to fight Amanda Nunes because I lost fair and square to her. She's a great champion. And I thought this would be my chance to fight Amanda.
Fair
One
enough.
day.
You mean at 45 or back at 35?
35.
Got it. Okay.
Sometimes, in life you make decisions. And when you make a decision, it has consequences. Every decision in life has consequences, no matter what. I knew there were going to be consequences on the fact what I've said. But if you look back at my history or leading up to the 145 title fight, I've always said I go back to 135. Never I've said I'm not going back to 135. I mean, it has been a hard road, but that's life. Life is bumpy, and I'm here right now. I'm fighting Raquel Pennington, and I hope after Saturday night we can leave that all behind.
De Randamie wins by decision.
No matter what, I'm back. I made it back, and I wanted to finish the fight. It didn't work, but no matter what, I have a special group of people behind me, and without them, I wouldn't be here. But no matter what, I'm back. I made it back. No matter what everybody says, I'm back. It hasn't always been easy, with all the doubters, what everybody said, there were times I didn't believe I was going to come back. I had a very bad injury, not only my hand, an injury that made it almost impossible for me never to fight again. And a lot of people don't know about it, and I don't want to get into it a lot. But I can tell you, I've been through hell and back, and I'm back, and that's all that matters.
I know you say you don't want to get into it a lot, but what was it? I mean, can you share what happened?
It was a bad injury. I almost was blind. I got almost blind, and I was blind for a long time. And I still have some damage, but I'm still back, no matter what people say.
Was there an accident, or was it?
Yeah, a stupid freak-ass accident. It was a freak-ass accident.
What happened?
I kicked the ball, and the ball came back in my eyeball, and it damaged my nerve, and it made me blind for a long time. And I still have nerve damage, but I still have nerve damage, and up to 2 weeks ago, it was still unsure if the doctors are going to clear me to fight here in the United States. I was cleared in the Netherlands, but it wasn't cleared here in the United States. And nobody knows about this. My team knows about this. My close friends know about this, and so it's not like it was nothing. It was a hell of a journey to get here.
Following that victory, de Randamie would face top prospect, the undefeated Aspen Ladd. The Iron Lady would knock out Ladd in 16 seconds. December 29th, 2018. UFC 232, Jones vs. Gustafsson 2, Inglewood, California. Amanda Nunes moves back up to featherweight to face the champion, Chris Cyborg.
And how big this is? Like, is this the biggest female MMA fight in the history?
Yeah, this is for the baddest woman on the planet. 135 versus 145, both champions. Two of the baddest women in the world. We'll see. I mean, anytime you can put together a super fight with two legit champions, it's what I love, man. Love it.
I mean, if you win this, do you believe this solidifies that you are, no question about, the best of all time in the women's division?
Everybody always try and say I'm the best fighter in the world. I'm the baddest one.
like to my fans said that. I like to go to the octagon and do my best I can, be violent, be everything I can do there, and get the win and get my belt back home. But what if my fans gonna say about me? This is important for me.
But I'll say though, but in your mind, do you believe you're the greatest of all time?
I train really hard for me can do my best there, and then I always let my fans say that. If my fans said that, maybe I can believe that.
For me, since day one, always was business, you know. You can see from my posters, you can see from my social media, all business. I don't know her.
You know, I don't have anything against Amanda. All the time people ask me, you do like fight Amanda? I say, man, I don't want, because she's Brazilian, she's the champion, but everybody make this fight happen. You know, I just feel like it's so hard that you be the champion, and I know if after Saturday I beat her, nobody gonna look at her like the champion 135. And this is our
But I'm still gonna have the belt at home. I still go down and defend my belt.
I know. I'm saying, let me finish. And then
I still gonna have my belt. I'm gonna fight you and go down to 35.
Let me finish. And then that's it, you know. But you know, she's pushed this fight so long. We supposed to fight Amanda after Holly home. And then we supposed to fight her after I beat Yonaskaya. We supposed to fight July. We supposed to fight September. And she's having injury. She say, you know, tomorrow Saturday gonna be the day, and I'm ready, and they're gonna be amazing fight. And I don't have anything against her. You know, we're just gonna fight Saturday, and I do my best I can and back my belt to home. In Jesus' name.
That's it.
Thank you.
In one of the most shocking knockouts of the year, Nunes baits Cyborg into a brawl and knocks her out only 51 seconds into the opening round.
I know I hit hard. I know, but sometimes you never know, you know. Things can happen. You can be like, you have to be ready for everything. And when I connected my first punch, I saw she got wrong a little bit. And I say, oh, imagine if I connected the next one. And when my coach tell me, like, when you hate her the first time, you're gonna go crazy to try to kill you. And then it was exactly what happened. And that was the key of the fight. Get her to get crazy, to come forward. Like, and then you can connect your overhand and top her jab. And then we train that over and over because we know it's gonna happen.
Everybody is now calling you the greatest women's fighter of all time.
Feel amazing. This is the moment that I waited for, you know, make history and be happy with myself, be happy with what I'm capable of, and I'm happy. This is the only word that I have right now.
And I just want to ask you one thing to go back. Like when you fought Kat Zingano that fight, and that was a fight you probably could have won and you lost it. And you think back now to that time, like, you know, you were probably pretty low at that point, weren't you? And could you see in such a short period of time, climbing so much distance, beating so many great fighters, one of whom's already in the Hall of Fame and the other ones who already probably will be in the Hall of Fame. Could you foresee it happening as quickly for you as it did at that moment?
That fight was the fight changing me as an athlete. That fight against Kat Zingano helped me a lot. Like, to becoming who I am today, that fight needed to happen. In what way? Oh, you know, changing, like, to be more calm, you know, to be more confident, and training smart. You know, I used to train only training, like go to the gym and then do everything hard as possible, think it is the way it's supposed to be. But it's not. You have to train smart. You have to have coaches around you is smart as well. And I have, you know, I have my team behind me, behind America Top Team is the best team on the planet, and we are smart. And this was the key.
July 6, 2019, UFC 239, Jones versus Santos, Las Vegas, Nevada. Amanda Nunes is set to defend her bantamweight title against former champion Holly Holm.
You've beaten some of the all-time greats they've put in front of you, but a new challenge this weekend. How would you describe what it's like to get ready for a fight against Holly Holm?
You know, like, after this past fight in my career, I feel like I'm ready for everything, you know. Holly's a tough fight, but I feel like I'm way in front of her in this game, and I will prove it Saturday, because I'm the best in this game, you know, and I will keep proving. And I'm gonna keep this belt for a while. I'm 100% sure Saturday I will walk away with my new belt. I'm waiting for you guys there, okay? Thank you. Honestly, Holly is a very smart fighter. I think she have a lot of game plan for this fight. I have to be sharp, you know, everywhere. Waiting for the best moment and finish the fight as fast as possible. Or, whatever happens, I will be the one, my hand is gonna be raised that night.
Once again, in spectacular fashion, Nunes wins by knockout. She defeats Holm in the first round at 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
If you created a Mount Rushmore for women's mixed martial arts, chances are Amanda Nunes has knocked out everybody on that mountain. Yeah, we can talk about Cyborg's dominance over a long time, but Nunes knocked her out. Cyborg also didn't fight the same level of competition. Granted, that's not her fault because the divisions were so thin at featherweight, but I mean, how can you deny Nunes at this point? She smashed Ronda Rousey, Cyborg, Tate, and now Holm. And GDR previously, Julia Budd. I mean, everybody who's had a belt in her range, she has beaten. Oh, Valentina Shevchenko as well twice.
I thought Holly's gonna move a lot. I thought she's gonna in and out, run a little bit, try to clinch me, but she show up like, she stays still there. And like, I have to like do something else. Like, I have to do plan B because my first will always chase her. And she like kind of show up different. And it was better for me how she show up tonight. Honestly, me and my coach, Catel, we've been doing this for so long. And in the, actually was this weekend, I was in the hotel room. Me and Nina like started like practice, like hook, straight, and finish with the leg kick. Because I knew she's gonna run that way. And every time before I sleep, like we always doing over and over. So like, Mai's gonna catch her with this one. I'm gonna doing this. And you know, like I have the best coach in the world, and we do this over and over. Was something that I have the whole time. I don't have a chance to show yet, but tonight was a good night to show. I'm very happy about that.
December 14th, 2019, UFC 245, Usman versus Covington, Las Vegas, Nevada. Amanda Nunes is set to defend her bantamweight title against the former featherweight champion, Germaine de Randamie, on the year-end blockbuster pay-per-view for the UFC.